Hello there, this is James and you're watching Tixee Live. And a very good morning to all of you and a very happy Wednesday. Today's program, I want to have a little look at some good news for the change for all the UK. And plus talk about the market, waiting for a certain event you might have heard about, which is of course the US CPI. But before I get to that, don't forget, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research and do your own due diligence. And of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. With that out of the way, let's get started. So yes, starting off with, we've actually got some good news for a change for the UK, because the UK has had nothing but bad news recently with all the political instability and a lot of negative economic data. But today was a bit of a surprise, because today we had the UK GDP come in at 0.5% versus 0% expected. And that's a lot better than many analysts expected. So it's caught the market a teeny weeny about surprise, because April's GDP reading was negative 0.3%. March GDP reading was negative 0.1%. So this 0.5% growth is actually quite encouraging for a change. In fact, the growth is down to growth in construction industry and a large rise in GPs appointments. So the medical profession. However, on the negative side of it, businesses are reporting, unsurprisingly, higher running costs, which they're obviously having to put their prices up for the consumers. But in reference to the construction industry, the manufacturing production year on year was announced at 2.3% versus 0.3% expected. So again, better news for that as well. So let's have a quick look at the sterling and see how it's doing on the back of this positive news for a change. Okay, well, like I say, not a lot, to be perfectly frank and honest with you. It's got a slight boost. Obviously, it was under a lot of pressure. There has been a lot of pressure over the last couple of days, especially yesterday, where it was trading back 1.1819. So it has had a little bit of a bounce, but it started to recover a little bit yesterday anyway. But currently, it's trading at 1.19074. But as you can see, it's a little bit sideways, and there's a reason for that, which I'll explain in a moment. But anyway, a slight boost above 100-day moving average, but still below the 200-day, and just off the middle Bollinger Band. So again, a little bit of a boost on the back of that positive data. But again, I think the market is waiting for something else, which I'll talk about in a minute. The other thing I want to talk about is what we were talking about a lot yesterday. And that's the question: has Euro's journey to parity stalled? Well, my answer to that is no, it hasn't, and we're going to have a look at it right now. It hasn't stalled, because I still think it's under a fair bit of pressure. Obviously, it gave parity a kiss yesterday before finding a bit of a bounce. And like I said yesterday, I did ask the question: is this a dead? How are you? I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're well, sir. Is this a dead cat bounce? And I do generally think it is a dead cat bounce, because as you can see, so far this session, it's gone down towards that level again. So it started to test it again during the session. Yes, we've had a little bit of buyback, so there is something protecting that level. Again, like I say, it might be those barrier options I was talking about yesterday, maintaining it. But it's still, in my opinion, still under a lot of pressure. And I think it's only a matter of time. And maybe today would be the day where more pressure will be applied to it and it might drop under parity. Currently trading at 1.00374. So we need to watch that very closely. Okay, what else? What else is happening today? Why is the market slightly sideways? Well, I tell you why. It's inflation day. Like I said, it is inflation day. We've already had some inflation come out, and that was German inflation, which was announced at 8.2% as expected. So that's led to many, and it's the same as it was previous month as well. So it's no massive increase. So that's led many analysts to ask the question, has inflation peaked? Have we seen the top of inflation? But I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. And I tell you why, we'll find out if it indeed has later this afternoon on this massive event you might have heard about. Because as it stands, like I say, the cable had a slight boost, but it's still quite sideways. The euro is maintaining around the level where it opened and closed at yesterday. So it's still a little bit sideways because really all the markets are doing at the moment is waiting for the US CPI, which is expected to come in at 8.8%. So this will tell us, indeed, has inflation peaked, like the analysts are saying after the Germans result. Germany's CPI announcement. Has inflation peaked? This is what the market's waiting for. This is potentially huge, because if it is 8.8%, which will be a 4-decade high, this will lead the market to think that the Fed is going to be extremely aggressive with interest rates. Don't forget, we had a good job number on Friday. So if we have a high inflation result, then the markets will say, yes, the Fed are going to be very aggressive, and this will potentially lead to dollar strength. And this could potentially lead to, like I said, the euro finally touching parity and dropping below it. So this potentially is a big event. And because it's a big event, I'm doing a watch along, of course. I'm doing a watch along. So I'll be going live at 12:20 p.m. to watch along on this event as it happens. And we'll watch to see how the market reacts and see if there's any surprises. Last time it surprised us, remember. Last time I did a watch along for the US CPI, there was a big surprise because it was expected to come in at 8.3%, and it came in at 8.6%, which was a big surprise. So let's see if there's any surprises today. So come and join me on the watch along at 12:20 p.m. for the US CPI. On another thing, I want to briefly talk about earnings season, because there was a brilliant question. Someone asked me yesterday, a gentleman asked me yesterday about Google. And I said I would have a look into when it was due, and I'm going to talk about it now, answer the question now. Google earnings is due on the 26th of July. 26th of July. And don't forget, earnings are extremely important to the market because it tells you how much profit or how close that company came to reaching its targets, estimated profit in the quarter. So Google's earnings is due on the 26th of July, and actually their previous earnings for quarter one missed estimates by negative 3.67%. So it was negative. So it'll be interesting to see how what quarter two results show us. So yeah, that's answer that gentleman's question. 26th of July is Google. So that's going to be a big event for you Google traders out there and for the stock market in general. Other major events coming up, obviously, we said US CPI, which I'm doing the watch along, Canadian interest rate decision, which I'll discuss a little bit later this afternoon, because that's going to be quite interesting. US retail sales and US Michelin consumer sentiment. How the market stands at the moment. Okay, FTSE currently negative 0.73%, DAX negative 1.13%, and Eurostoxx 50 currently trading negative 0.27%. Like I said, I think the markets is really waiting with bated breath for the all-important, obviously, US CPI. Like I said, please come along and join me. I'll be going live at 12:20 p.m. UTC, so we can have a little chat about it first, talk about it first, and then together we'll watch the announcement and see how the markets react. So I'm looking forward to that. So please come along and join me for that. As always, you can always ask me questions anytime you wish. This is, tixee Live After all, this is what I hear. And like I say, if I know the answer, I'll answer straight away. If I don't, I will find out and tell you in the next live session, like I did about the Google earnings. Because I wasn't quite sure when it was announced, so I went and double checked. So please feel free to ask me questions whenever I'm online, or just say hello, like this gentleman did. Asked me how I was, which was really nice of them. And again, don't forget, if you think of a question later, and please put it in the comments on either Facebook and YouTube. I will see them and I will answer them next time I go live. So do remember that option as well. Okay, as there is no questions, don't forget, I'll be back online again for the watch along at 12:20 p.m. UTC, and for the afternoon session, which I'll be going on air about 1:30 p.m. UTC for the US Open. So we can watch US trading, how it opens and how it starts. So I'll be back online there. But the big one, like I say, is 12:20 p.m. UTC, US CPI. So please come along and join me. As I always say, if you're watching me on Facebook and you quite like this little episode, follow if you like. If you're watching me on YouTube and you've enjoyed this little episode, subscribe if you like. Hit the notification button so you know next time I'm going live. And if you enjoyed this little video and you found it useful and you've put up with me, give me one of those. It's nice to know that you're liking the stuff I'm doing. But anyway, till next time, remember, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research, do your own due diligence, and of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. Till next time, every single one of you, trade safe.